A good Saturday midday to you. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda. They're all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Still have flurry action coming off the Great Lakes. This area of higher pressure is trying like hell to build in, but it's having a very slow time of it. And we still have a little bit of flurry action and little patches of snow coming in from mainly Georgian Bay and then across from also Lake Champlain, localized. This ridge of higher pressure associated with a blob of colder air, and it's going to be pushing off the coast and opening up a warming trend. That's going to be originating in parts of Mexico. Due to this west coast trough that's going to be pushing in, a lot of rainfall on the coasts and mostly to the south of our region, but we have rain inbound that'll start as early as Monday morning. Looking at the 3-hourly incrementals here. So we have the ridge of higher pressure. This is valid at 1 o'clock this afternoon, 18Z. That ridge of higher pressure should shut off a lot of that flurry action and set up what should be a pretty fine Sunday, albeit a little bit on the cold side, but not too far from winter norms, seasonal norms for the current time. And that area of higher pressure will be also pushing in a little bit of a southerly wind with the pressure gradient beginning to tighten up as that frontal system begins to pull closer to us across eastern Quebec. That means a southerly channeling wind across the Champlain Valley. Right now it looks like it's going to be right about threshold or mostly a little bit below and mostly confined to Lake Champlain. As that goes on by, the winds fall off. We get into a little bit of precipitation across our northern tier region, looking at a little bit of snow mixing with rain. This is valid 12Z or about 7 o'clock on Monday morning. And this is where there could be just a little touch for mixed precipitation. This will not be a utility issue. It does look like it will affect travel, however, on Monday morning. And this will continue as rain. And you can see here a little patch kind of working on through. Then kind of an elongated, skinny frontal boundary. These have the tendency to be the most difficult to forecast because they'll change. Also, you have the timing of these little waves of lower pressure rolling and rippling along the front northeastbound. So what ends up happening is we have this, and then the last wave of low pressure moves on by, pulls in colder air, changes basically rain to wet snow, and does accumulate, especially notable across the southern Green Mountains, where it could be somewhere between 3, 4, 5 inches potentially. This will start out as wet snow, but dry out pretty quickly as well, so we're looking at medium or dry density type snowfall once it initially starts as a little bit of wet snow. By the time we get into Wednesday afternoon, that pulls away, we get some lake effect, and then high pressure begins to build in. This is a pretty strong area of higher pressure. It's going to have ramifications, it's so strong. 1045 hectopascals as that high pressure system moves off to the east. The tendency that when you get this sort of very deep high pressure system, this big dome, you'll scoop up a lot of moisture here for the next system. And indeed, this is what's going on over the eastern Gulf of Mexico off the west coast of Florida. This is going to track northward. This is beyond the period here. We're talking right now into Friday and Saturday. We're into Saturday, and then it looks like rain arrives. This is fairly copious amounts, about 3, 4, almost 5 standard deviation sigma for the amount of precipitation according to precipitable water metrics. So this is quite the big storm here. There could be wind associated with it. All of this takes place, it looks like, over the following weekend. Looking at the GFS ensemble, you can see that this is relatively dry weather. A little bit of the flurry action shuts down. We have good weather on Sunday. We get into Sunday night and into the day on Monday, which is what this peak of rainfall shows here. And then basically Monday night into Tuesday, and then finally Tuesday night into Wednesday as the last of that precipitation begins to pull away. We get better weather, good project weather day on Thursday, and then we're setting ourselves up for the next round of precipitation after this period. This is the total QPF, so we're talking roughly about 6/7 of an inch up through the time through this next storm that exits basically Wednesday afternoon. It'll be mostly predominantly rain, a little bit of mixed precipitation. These are our snow flurries here. This is the dry weather, and then we're into a little bit of snow, and then some mixed precipitation, all changing to rain, high probabilities of rain. That exits, and we get a little bit of snow on the tail end. And the GFS ensemble is agreeing mostly with the European. And 2-meter temperatures do show that it's pretty cold. We're going to see temperatures that could be even running a little bit below zero here for Saturday night, Sunday morning. Those temperatures make a nice rebound. You can see that they go above the freezing mark here with the rainfall, and then another cold Arctic outbreak modified to some degree, and then we warm right back up again. In terms of how it looks at 850 hectopascals, in terms of temperature, this is typically about the level of height, top of Mount Mansfield. You can see the temperature goes above freezing, and this is rain, this is snow, and so forth. Total QPF, you can see that generally it's this area here where the storm track is going to be, and this is moving off to the south and east of our region. However, we're going to be on the northerly fringes of that. This is about a half-inch total QPF for 7 days, and even a quarter of an inch right here. It looks like around the Champlain Valley. And this is what the European does show as well. Temperatures, the way it's laid out right now, we have a lot of Arctic warmth, as you can see. And you can see colder conditions across most of Canada. This is prone, it's going to be sliding in eventually. And this is what's currently across our region, sort of modified Arctic air, even though we're going to see a cold night due to strong radiational cooling with clearing skies tonight. Next 5 days, meteorological output statistics, the mean max temperatures. You can see some really cold air starting to plow into parts of the northern plains, coming out of the Canadian plains and the prairies. And then, about 3 days later, this is how it looks. It does drive all the way down to the Gulf Coast, but it also drives up warmer weather and neutral conditions for us here in the eastern seaboard, including Vermont. Now this is total snow depths on the ground here based on the European, and what you can see is that as we warm up, we lose a lot of our snowpack here, especially in the northern part of the state, and we're down to under an inch in a lot of places. That includes a lot of the Champlain Valley. The heavier snows that fell across parts of Vermont are also going down, and this comes, of course, with the next surge early to mid-part of next week. And then we pick up a little snow on the backside. You can see that that adds a little more snow. And then with the next round, I thought this was worthy of noting. You can see that we're going to lose a lot of snow here. And with the next warm-up and some pretty heavier rains, fairly good push of a lot of moisture working in with the next warm-up as well. Now we're into Sunday and into Monday. You can see how that snowpack is whittled down to what it once used to be. And that is in southern parts of Vermont, kind of erasing a lot of the snow in the mountains. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.